Today, I want to get into Jung Kook was recently found at a children's hospital and what happened there. I wanted to get into Jung Kook releasing a new statement on stalkers and someone who has his address. And then I wanted to get into more stalkerish stuff and apparently private videos and pics leaked. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumplings, hey Spilling Mug merch, and let's go. Jung Kook was recently in the children's hospital and doing something that you might not expect. But before we get into that, I want to address some of the more charitable things that BTS has done in the past and why this matters. BTS as a group has donated to the Black Lives Matter movement. Bang PD has mentioned in the past that black music is actually the base of BTS's music, or at least used to be. And then on top of that, K-pop in general has been inspired heavily on black music. Given the nature of K-pop in general and the idea that K-pop has taken from black culture, but then Korean culture has been known to be racist against black people, are all these things that contribute to this idea that BTS or HYBE needs to give back to those people. Now, especially in times of need where the black community is calling out for help, it's very important for those who have taken from that community to be able to give back their support. BTS has donated about $1 million to the cause, and then armies actually matched that donation, so actually $2 million went to the cause. A lot of people think money isn't enough to support the cause, but it is. If black people in the US were all seen as the wealthiest, then there are no more of these black people getting followed around when they shop, because you wouldn't think a rich person is going to steal from a convenience store. The stereotypes come from people thinking this certain group is under the poverty line, and that stereotype follows even the richest black people. So a lot of the racism actually comes from the perception of money and classism. Money isn't the answer to everything, as Asians are seen as the top wealthy people in America, but they still experience racism. But it is less than a black person because of the perception of money. RM actually was someone who donated to a cause that was a big deal to him. RM is huge into art and culture, and he actually donated about $72,000 to restore some Korean artifacts. What this means is that the specific artifact that is being restored is going to be sent back to the country it is representing or found in, and they are going to try to restore the specific part that maybe have faded or ripped. They often try to use the same material that the original artifact had and try not to destroy the part of history. The specific thing that RM donated for was a traditional wedding dress, something you can't really find anymore. And this is a big deal. Once people get to a certain level of wealth, you want to give back to the community, but in a very meaningful way. Of course, donations to charity and all that are great. Another thing you can do is restore historic things that are going to help children. People tend to remember their first field trip to maybe a museum or something in school. Seeing this dress, maybe even writing a report on this type of dress, is going to be something they'll remember. It's a big deal to be a part of that history and be a part of contributing to the education of these children and even any museum goers. One thing that Jung Kook did recently that was actually very shocking to everyone was his donation to a children's hospital. He apparently donated about $750,000. This is so much, and not to like blow smoke up Jung Kook's butt, but I do that already apparently. But even billionaires don't donate this much to causes. It's such a big amount. It's estimated that it costs $150,000 for cancer treatment if your insurance covers nothing. In Korea, I think you still have to pay for 20% of your treatment costs. So the money could actually save 5 times more than that money would in the US. This is just my theory. So that's like 25 cancer patients in the hospital that the money could save. And cancer tends to be the more expensive treatments. There are other conditions that cost less, but still most people like you and me can't afford. And Jung Kook is saving those children's lives, as well as the families too, as they don't have to worry about getting 3 jobs to pay the debt. In a press release, Jung Kook responded to say that he hopes his donation could actually help any children in need and sees them smile. He definitely would see them smile and live their life, and can totally imagine maybe 10 years down the line, Jung Kook ends up meeting an army that talks about how his donation saved them, and that's beautiful. You can definitely tell Jung Kook is a beautiful soul, and he definitely does not deserve a lot of the backlash that he has gotten. He has gotten hate, but more than that, there's been a lot of real life situations that are not great. Recently, he was accused of having a video of him touching himself being leaked. Obviously, I'm not going to post that here. The clip showed a Jung Kook lookalike in the video, and people shared it as if it were him. This clip actually came from an alleged stalker. I'm wondering if they got someone that looks like Jung Kook, or they edited it, or whatever it was. To me, it was quite clear that it was not Jung Kook, and someone with long hair and a mask on their face. Who in their private time alone in their room is wearing a mask? It's just weird. But it was clear that this alleged stalker wanted to make it look like they had private information on Jung Kook and that they were able to get more information than most people. This way, they would almost gain credibility for anything that they would say. And I think that's the point of this. They want the fandom to think that they know everything and all of the intimate details. And then they can say things like, Jung Kook was rude to me, or Jung Kook is dating so-and-so. And why wouldn't you believe it at that point, right? They've proven they're an expert stalker and hacker. But this is all fake and not true. It's very easy nowadays with edits, AI, and even just impersonators to make it look like a celebrity is doing anything when they're clearly not, even though it's not real. I would imagine Jung Kook would feel violated and annoyed to even see that something like this is being associated with his name, or that he is being thought about in this way. It's quite weird, and now there's searches when you look for those things that claim it's Jung Kook, and those things muddy up the searches and reputation of the artist. Luckily, it's not something that people in America care about. It's quite common and understood that artists and famous people will have fake naughty videos made about them. Jung Kook also recently seemingly just had enough of this and actually spoke out about stalkers. Recently, he went to the gym to do a boxing, and someone had followed him there and linked him there. People thought it was a lookalike and really didn't regard it. Once Jung Kook hopped on a stream and addressed the situation to say that he noticed a bunch of people hanging out at the gym waiting for him and asked them not to do that, did a bunch of people think, oh wow, this is real then? And for Jung Kook to have addressed this, it must mean that it was worse than just that, and possibly more instances of this have happened. Recently, Jung Kook just randomly hopped on Weverse and left a long message that really caused a storm this morning. A media storm for the news, and then Twitter went and did what Twitter does, which I'll talk about. I'll read what Jung Kook posted, and keep in mind this is translated from Korean to English, so there could be inaccurate translations. But he apparently said, "Please don't send delivery food to my house. I'm not going to eat it anyway. I'm thankful for the thought, but I can eat well on my own. So take care of your own meals, I beg you. If you send it one more time, I will check the receipt order number and take action, so stop it." Of course, there was some initial backlash from people who I think didn't really understand. It might sound nice to get free food once in a while, right? Most people dream about being a celebrity because they think they will get free things. But let me tell you something. I don't think people understand when you have that much money and you get a lot of free stuff all the time, the novelty of free things wears off. First off, you can buy anything, so you actually don't want things anymore. The main obstacle between most of us and things is money. There's no obstacle for them. So they can literally go down to the store and just grab it if they're hungry or in the mood. It's not even money when they buy food for them. It's literally just going downstairs and just grabbing it off the shelf. When you make like $10 million a year, $30 on food is probably the same as 1 cent to us. It's practically free. You don't have to think about it. So he doesn't need that. Some people were saying that Jung Kook needs to be grateful because plenty of people don't have food and he's getting it for free. But there's so many issues here that have nothing to do with food. First of all, how does someone even know where Jung Kook lives to even send food? Is there going to be a situation where someone breaks into his house or apartment? Would that be a concern since his address is literally circulating online? And then second of all, Jung Kook has no idea if the food has been tainted, touched, or whatever it is. What if someone put their hair in it in hopes that Jung Kook could eat their hair? There was a Sasaeng story where someone put some sort of glue into an idol's orange juice and they had to go to the hospital and was internally bleeding. So historically, why would Jung Kook eat strangers' food again? He would throw it out, which means it becomes a waste, and for safety, it has to be. People were saying that the alleged Sasaeng who did that was caught and they found her information. However, if this was an isolated incident or just like 1 or 2 times, I don't know if Jung Kook would post about it. It seems like it could be multiple people doing this. But either way, I think something might be happening behind the scenes to ensure Jung Kook's safety now, and if not, please, someone do something. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thanks, this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.